Hi, I'm Bruce Music, and welcome back to another video in this series about relationships and how to create one that's deeply intimate, connected, loving, passionate, sexy, juicy, and lasts a lifetime. Now, whether or not you're single or you're in a relationship, you're going to find this video incredibly useful because you're about to discover your unique fighting style. A fighting style is an unproductive way that you react in a fight with your partner that causes you to unconsciously sabotage the relationship and have you experience being disconnected from your partner and have the relationship break down. So we're going to discover what your unique way of doing that is. And then we're going to take a look at how to take conflict and transform it into an opportunity for intimacy. So stick about because you're going to find this really useful. So before we begin, I want to dispel a myth that exists in our popular culture. And if you believe this myth, you're probably always going to struggle in relationships. And the myth is this, that a happy and a healthy relationship is a relationship where neither party fights. That is complete BS. Now the fact is that all relationships that last a lifetime and where the love stays alive and thrives go through 5 consecutive stages that we covered in detail in the first video in the series. And they are, just very briefly, the romance stage, the power struggle stage, the stability stage, the commitment stage, and finally the bliss stage. And the only way to get to the bliss stage is to move through the power struggle stage. And most people get stuck and break up in the power struggle stage because that's where all the fighting happens, that's where all the conflict happens. And unless you have the skills to be able to communicate in a way that creates deep intimacy, you're not able to move through the power struggle stage and your relationship gets stuck there and you go round and round and round dealing with the same issues, the same conflict over and over and over until one of 2 things happen. You break up, or you end up surviving in a relationship that's emotionally dead or just plain old boring. And the third option is to learn how to love consciously. Now, can you see that in order to get to the bliss stage in a relationship, you've got to go through the power struggle stage. You've got to fight. Because if you don't fight, you never deal with the core issues that the power struggle is designed to have you deal with. So I want you to look at fighting in a different way. What if conflict in your relationship is just the 2 of you working out each other's differences to try and navigate a way to move forward together? What if you could approach conflict in that way? I think you'd get a really different result than if you thought of conflict as something to be avoided at all costs. And, you know, it's understandable because if you've grown up in a society where fighting is considered bad and unhealthy, and perhaps you've been in fights that have been really hurtful and you've gotten hurt and you've closed down and they were painful and destructive, you might have learned that it's not safe to fight. But when you're in a relationship and you're not able to fight in a healthy way, you never deal with your issues to the point where they get complete. So you end up recycling those same issues round and round and round, and it just gets exhausting and drains the life out of your relationship. Can you relate? A really smart friend of mine, Evan Pagan, has a unique way of looking at the power struggle. He says that the deeper you are in love, the more likely you are to fight. And I think he's right, because the deeper you are in love, the more you care about the relationship working. So the more you're really willing to do whatever it takes to work through your differences so you can pop out the other side, with a relationship that works. So there's a reframe for you. Rather than thinking that a happy, healthy relationship is a relationship where there's no fighting, think of it like this, that when you're fighting, it's just a sign that you have a really deep and true love. I like to think of 2 kinds of fighting. One I call reactive fighting, and the other one I call conscious fighting. So let's take a look at the anatomy of a reactive fight. All reactive fights usually start off with a trigger event. Okay, now this could be something as small as your partner forgetting to take the trash out, or you came home from work and she didn't hug you or kiss you hello. But what ends up happening is the trigger event triggers an experience of being disconnected from you and your partner, and you end up fighting each other, and you actually end up fighting against each other. And when you do this, you have a reactive behavior, a way of fighting that escalates the fight, that makes the fight it's like pouring fuel on the fire instead of pouring water on the fire. And when this happens, you experience even more disconnection. And the disconnection that you experience from this reactive behavior reinforces the reactive behavior, and you keep on reacting and you're feeling more disconnected. And then you react again and you get even more disconnected until you're in a full-blown fight where the 2 of you are feeling alienated, where you don't feel connected at all, where you're feeling shut down or judged or misunderstood or alone in a relationship with somebody you actually love. So I'm going to let you in on a little known secret about fighting and the power struggle stage. When you get into a fight, you have a reactive behavior that either explodes out, where you explode your energy out, or withdraws in, where you pull your energy back in and withdraw. And I'm going to call the reactive behavior that explodes out, I'm going to call that person the hailstorm. And the person that withdraws, I'm going to call him the turtle, because they withdraw into their shell, right? Now, you are either a hailstorm or a turtle in your relationship usually. And what tends to happen is when you get into a fight and you move into this reactive behavior, you'll either hailstorm or you're turtle. And if you're the hailstorming type, you force your partner to become a turtle and withdraw, because you're hailstorming on them and it's not safe. You're exploding your energy out and your partner, that's the turtle, goes ah, and withdraws into their shell to retreat. And of course, if you're a turtle, the more you withdraw into your shell, the more you force your hailstorm partner to hailstorm, because they're like, where'd you go? I'm trying to communicate. You disappeared on me. Ah, panic. And they start to hailstorm, hailstorm, hailstorm. Does this sound familiar? Usually, the hailstorm is accused by the turtle of being needy, of being controlling or possessive or just like too emotional and dramatic. And the turtle is accused of being cold and emotionally withdrawn and disconnected and stoic or aloof. Well, if you can relate to this in your own relationship, firstly, you're normal. And secondly, it's just an indication that you're in the power struggle stage and you haven't figured out yet how to move beyond it. But what ends up happening is if you stay stuck in this cycle of the hailstorm and the turtle, you never get your arguments resolved and you end up recycling and repeating the same issues over and over again, which leads to disconnection and a lack of trust in your relationship and a lack of safety. And when there's no safety because the fights have become like war zones, then what ends up happening is the intimacy dies. And the first thing to go is sex. Sexual passion just disappears when you get stuck in this power struggle stage without learning how to create deeper intimacy out of your conflict. Let's take a look at an alternative, which I'm going to call conscious fighting. Now, in a conscious fight, you still have a trigger event, but this time it's usually a new trigger event because you're resolving your issues as you're going, right? And the trigger event triggers a disconnection between you and your partner. But instead of getting into a fight with each other and like hurting each other, what you end up doing is you end up getting into a fight, but both of you on the same team fighting a common misunderstanding. And you're fighting for the understanding. You fight to find clarity and you fight to find the understanding. And what happens is when you find the understanding between the two of you and you defeat the misunderstanding, you end up feeling deeply connected with each other. Instead of being disconnected like in the reactive fight, you actually end up being more connected with each other, which creates the spin-off of intimacy, right? Imagine going into a fight and coming out feeling more intimately connected and loving with your partner. Imagine what would happen if you did that every fight. And what happens is each issue gets resolved, and as it gets resolved, so you can move on to the next issue until all the major issues are dealt with and there's not really anything left to fight about. And this is when you move beyond the power struggle stage into the stability stage, the commitment stage, and the bliss stage. But you can't get beyond the power struggle unless you learn to master the art of conscious fighting, what I sometimes refer to as fighting fair or fighting for love. Does that make sense? So I'm going to close this video with a powerful strategy, a powerful mindset that'll help you move from reactive fighting into conscious fighting. I've noticed that a lot of people, when I'm coaching them around their relationship, end up complaining about their partners, like she whines and nags all the time, or he never takes the trash out, or some kind of complaint. And these complaints usually act as trigger events that trigger the cycle of the reactive fight, right? So it usually starts with a complaint. Like, whine, 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 he or she never does this, right? So I want to give you a new way of looking at your partner's complaints. Think of it like this. Underneath every complaint that your partner comes to you with is a fear that they may not even be aware of, and a covert plea for connection. Okay, I'll say that again. Underneath every complaint that your partner comes to you with is a fear that they may not be aware of, and a covert, a hidden plea for connection. A couple came to me recently for coaching. And when I asked the husband what was wrong in the relationship and why they'd come to me for coaching, he said, well, you know, she's just unreliable. She doesn't know how to keep her promises. She says she's going to quit smoking, and then one day, I find her out in the backyard smoking, and she goes, I don't understand what the big deal is. I'm just having a cigarette, and it's every now and once again, I'm allowed to change my mind if I want to. And so we started to unpack this complaint that they had about each other. Her complaint was that he overreacts. His complaint was that she's unreliable. And what we discovered was that there was a deep-seated fear under her smoking. His complaint had nothing to do with the smoking. Because she had promised him that she was going to quit smoking, and he had discovered her smoking, he made that mean, his story was, that she was unreliable and that she couldn't keep her promises. And that if she couldn't keep a simple promise, like quitting smoking, how was she ever going to keep their relationship vows? How was she ever going to be faithful? And his fear was that she would abandon him. And for him, her smoking equaled she was going to abandon him. And his covert plea was a plea for connection. What he was really saying when he was complaining about the smoking was, please don't leave me. Please be reliable. Please love me. Please don't abandon me. And when she saw this, she had so much compassion for him. And when he saw this about himself, he suddenly realized, oh, it's actually got nothing to do with the smoking. I'm just really insecure right now. And they could start to work on the real issue and start to work on the issue of the insecurity, such that they walked out of one coaching session head over heels in love with each other again, having resolved this issue and understanding each other on a much deeper level and having a renewed sense of compassion and understanding in their relationship. So now it's time for you to do the work in your relationship to learn how to fight consciously. And to help you with this, I've included a PDF down below this video that's going to walk you through discovering your hidden fear and your covert plea in the most common complaint that you have about your partner. And then you can take this exercise and do it with your partner and discover their most common complaint about you and what their hidden fear is behind that and what their covert plea is. And talking about this with your partner and actually understanding yourself, what your deepest fear is and how you go about pleading for connection, will help you break that pattern and that cycle in your relationship. Also in the exercises, I'm going to give you a little quiz to help you discover whether or not you're a hailstorm or whether or not you're a turtle, if you're still on the offense and not quite sure which one you are. So download the PDF down below, print it out, and do the exercises, and I'll see you soon with the third video in this series where we're going to take a look at how you can create instant connection at any moment with your partner, especially when you're in conflict. I really hope you found this video useful and you can take what you've learned in the last 15 minutes and apply it in your relationship right away to create deeper intimacy, connection, trust, love, passionate, hot sex, whatever it is you want in your relationship. If you did, and you know somebody else who might find this video useful too, please share it with them. Click the like button down below and share it on Facebook. And I would love to hear your questions and your comments, so please feel free to leave me a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer it in an upcoming video. So keep an eye on your inbox because I'm going to be sending you the third video in this series very soon, where we're going to be taking a look at how to create instant connection with your partner. And I'm going to be teaching you one of the most powerful communication tools I know to create connection with another human being. I'm Bruce. Have yourself a phenomenal day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.